What's going on, fam? We back live A to Z. What is I was about to say October? It's January 18th, New Year.
Most October.
Martin Luther King Eve. Ali's in the building. Got the
Yeah, what's
glasses
up?
on this morning. What's up, man? What's good?
Oh man, loving life,
Okay,
doing
love and
everything that
life.
we got to do. You know what I'm saying?
It's a lot out there to do these days, man.
Hey, I was
It-
sitting there. We had a conversation yesterday. We just jump. You ready? Jump right into it.
yeah, man. A to Z, man. Let's just run it. We just see
Okay.
what's.
So I see we got this MLK topic, but I want to talk about being grateful and not complaining all the time, and realizing that other people have things that are worse than you,
Yeah,
and how we might feel about certain things. Because I'm sitting here yesterday, I was going through some pain, some issues, and I'm sitting in my head. I'm like, do I really get to complain? Do I get to whine about the pain that I'm going through when I know that there are people who got their legs blown off? Do I get to whine about the pain that I'm going through and the struggles I'm having with uh, certain movements when I know that there's people that were children that got their arms chopped off?
it's an interesting story, right? Something to think about, right? Uh,
Yeah,
so
you know,
so so did you keep complaining, or you figured like you can't
I'm
complain?
still trying. I'm still trying to figure it out. You know, what I mean, like how do I look with the knowledge of there's a guy that's a motivational speaker that don't have arms or legs, that gets propped up on the table and talks to people about the stuff that he does and shows videos of this dude swimming, you know, doing archery, painting, typing,
Yeah.
and all he has is the face. you know what you know what I mean? This dude is doing all kinds of stuff.
Uh, hey man, I feel him because
And
I'm not a great swimmer.
right.
So,
And I'm like,
it's that is
go
interesting
ahead.
because I think on some level you should maybe not complain but share the story, because we all have our own stories, and to look at someone who you feel on the outside, is less able-bodied than you would discount the story that you have. And if you don't tell your story, maybe not in a complaining way, but at least sharing your story about what you're experiencing, what you're going through, because all of it at the end of the day is inspiration for someone else. Your
Yeah.
story, if you hold it back and you don't share it, then you may be missing out on the opportunity to inspire someone else to see their greatness. And this guy sharing his story, with no limbs blowing up, he's inspiring others to see what's possible. And I think we can't discount our story. Just because I have legs, I still, you can still have pain as well. So I mean, I think not minimizing it, but also being able to share it, is important.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and that was just one of those feelings of that I came into, and that's a good answer. Go ahead and share it, but not so much complain about the pains and the ailments, because there are other people that have a story that's a little bit different, and you are maybe a little bit more blessed, depending on your situation, than they are. Or they could be more blessed than you. I'm sitting there complaining about my back hurting. And again, this guy is a motivational speaker making millions of dollars, and he doesn't have legs or arms. So that's an awesome thing. So
for sure,
now that thank you for letting me get that ran off and getting a little bit of education to myself. I needed
for
I needed
sure,
to
man, for
breathe on
sure.
that one. So
Yeah,
sharing the issue is what it is, not complaining.
yeah, for sure. And we are about sharing today, man. That we got MLK Day tomorrow. That's always a great topic to discuss because we still find ourselves in this area where some people feel like we're still fighting for rights, fighting for civil rights, and we still have to keep Dr. King's story alive. You mentioned that you had interesting view on Dr. King. Why don't you share it a little bit with us if you can, man?
Well, I
This guy
just,
said he's all about complaining. It's food stamps.
yeah,
What are you
man.
complaining about with the food stamp? That's funny. Oh, the bald head. Yeah,
Yeah,
we both rocking the bald heads, man.
right.
You know,
No, no,
we
no.
getting a
Hey,
little longer too.
look,
Huh?
you see that? You see that little bit right there? I got some hair, man. I'm not all the way bald.
Come on, dog. Come on, dog. It's like you gonna comb that over too. Like you
Yeah,
can't even comb that over.
man. No, I can't even comb it over. It ain't moving nowhere, man. But no, I was just thinking about the fact that the Martin Luther King thing, how he wanted integration and all this other stuff, and everybody to be at one. I think it's an honorable idea. It was an honorable idea, but it in turn destroyed the Black community. Just because we did have a lot of stuff in our community before we integrated.
Yeah.
That integration actually stopped a lot of Black people's ingenuity, our thinking, and our scientific, minds and creativity. And a lot of people say, no, it didn't stop it. But what have we created lately? I don't
That's an
know.
interesting question. Yeah, I mean,
So,
what kind of things were you seeing? What in your research that you found that was going on in the communities that stopped?
well,
Uh,
we had our own communities. They were big. They were thriving. We had Black Wall Street. We had all kinds of stuff. We were what they said, we invented this traffic light. Just all kinds of stuff. I don't really want to get all into the black and white issue because I don't think it's
sure.
a black and white issue. I'm just talking about the cultural issue that created.
Yeah.
So I just think there was a better way, a different way of doing it. There could have been a different type of collaboration. Instead of like, even though there was integration, we didn't have to stop the culture of creation. If
I
you
think
understand
like
what I'm trying to say.
yeah, absolutely. I think what you're saying is like it's no different how we get along today, right? Where everyone has differences. We could recognize that there's, quote unquote black community, white community, Italian community, whatever, and each community has its own strengths. But to integrate them, bring the strengths from each community, work together, but not necessarily mash them all together to make one community. Is that kind of what you're saying? Because everyone has their own strengths that they could
Exactly.
bring to the table.
It,
So maybe that would have been a better solution to just pull out the strengths, bring the best of each community to the betterment of all communities.
yeah, that's exactly what I believe should have happened, instead of like what happened. It felt like it was just dropping.
Yeah,
It felt like it dropped an idea so that they don't be on, you know, just so they don't be on one page. It's like, it's kind of, it's hard to explain because you do need, I mean, it's difficult for me it's challenging for me to explain that, just because of the fact that there should be integration, but there shouldn't be separation of one's own self. Like, even when you go into get married, when you're getting married, you
yeah.
don't kill who you are.
You shouldn't.
You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
you integrate with the other person, and then, well, you shouldn't. You integrate with the other person, and you bring the best of you to that relationship, but you still keep who you are. And
For sure.
I think we killed ourselves in
You
that area.
and when you say it like that in the light of a relationship, because some people say that King was put up to do this very specific job, what you said earlier, kill the industrious nature of the black community. And if you look at it from a higher view, if you bring someone in and you get them to put what their dreams are, what their aspirations are aside in order to integrate, like in a relationship, because sometimes in relationships, people feel like, oh, we're together now, so I don't want you doing that anymore. If you love me, you will stop being who you are. And in a sense, that's what you're kind of saying, that, in the hopes of bringing this integrative community together, you put some of your own aspirations, your own dreams aside for the sake of uniting, and sometimes that could be to the detriment of whoever is involved. And in this case, you're saying that happened to some of the industrious nature of the Black community, just for the
Yeah.
sake of getting along and trying to integrate. And yeah, that's dangerous, because even on an individual level in relationships, man, you start putting who you are 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road, you start waking up and realizing, man, I'm no longer who I don't even like who I am and who I see in the mirror.
Exactly.
Yeah, so definitely
And
that's not good.
Right. And it allows for a person, like when the group goes into that, it could be a group, it could be two individuals, but when those entities go into that, whichever entity figures out that the other one is totally releasing themselves first, whoever does that first, or whoever notices it, is like, oh, I can go ahead and control that.
For sure. Because once you lose that individual identity, then you're toast, man. You're toast. Yeah. And you could say, like, or at least I look at it like, I was listening to a guy the other day. I can't think of his name now. Ambasalik, African gentleman. I have to find his name, but he was talking about industriousness, and how we need to get back to that. And the example he used was the Chinese community, how they have 2, 3, 4-year-olds who are able to farm, who are able to do this and that at such a young age. And in our society here in America, we don't have that kind of society where we're teaching strengths, how to be industrious, how to farm, how to be self-sustaining at a young age. We put that off until, 18, 19, 20, sometimes 30 years old. And those are vital skills for any community to really thrive. And I feel like we're in a whole system that's kind of taking that away systematically over time.
You mean kind of? They've done it. they have taken it away, because especially the way I seen it in our community. And when I'm saying our, I mean the community I was growing up in Ohio. They took it away by crack, because our community didn't have a grocery store. So when they threw crack in the community, the older people was the ones who were teaching the people, the middle age, like between 20s and 40s, were the ones who were supposed to grab those skills of gardening and farming and pass it on to the younger ones. But they were in the crack and in the gangs once the crack came. So they stopped worrying about pushing good stuff for the community, So it's like once they stopped that, they were able to, they were able to put the grocery store in, because now we lost the ability, or lost the knowledge, not ability, but we lost the knowledge to farm. So now we got to go to this other place and depend on the government or depend on the system to feed us.
Yeah.
So
and that's not great.
Right. And remember home ec?
Home economics.
Remember when they had home economics at school?
Yep.
They had farming, they had cooking, they had well, not so much farming, but they did teach people how to garden.
I know in my school in Georgia, we have Future Farmers of America. That was like a club you could join, FFA. I'm sure that's probably the case in some real rural areas where they have FFA. We also took small engines in school, where we learned how to rebuild a lawnmower engine.
But did they take that out of your schools? Because I know they took it out of our middle schools, because you was talking about the age of learning. you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's
They
certainly
that
not
out
in the
of
middle schools
school.
here. It's
Yeah.
not in the middle schools here
So
that I think of. Yeah. This was
that's
in high
most
school
definitely
in
another
Dublin,
form of
Georgia.
control.
Say that one more time.
I said that's most definitely a form of control. Let's control
sure.
the knowledge so that we can control who they depend on, of course. And food is something that we really depend on them now.
Yeah, bro. I was thinking like how it all kind of happened this morning. Just kind of do it. Go. You got something before I run into it? Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You on this one.
Just,
But I was going to talk about the middle class. But we go ahead and do something.
Well, I was just going through this thought experiment of how it all happened, and when we look at through history, the first thing they did was take the land, because once you take the land, you know that's so powerful because I was reading a book a while ago that talked about what America was like, hundreds of years ago when it was first settled by Europeans. So you'd basically walk through, there'd be rivers full of fish. There was mounds everywhere, and these mounds were places that the people lived in, which were symbiotic with the environment. So they were heated to cool themselves without electricity. And these mounds, they got torn down. Of course, the rivers got overfished. Then there were crystals and everything everywhere too. So then they started bringing in the mining, and when you start taking crystals and things like that out of the land, I mean, today we just think of crystals as something you put on your neck or whatever, but these things are inside of computers. They store information. We have crystals inside of our body that resonate with these crystals in the ground. But anyway, they started doing that, and then they had to start re-educating people on how to sustain themselves. So with the advent of the school system, after the land was taken, then we started teaching this is how you're going to create and build going forward. And then you started having licenses started to have licenses to build. So you can't even build a house now. If you buy land, you have to get permits to build houses. So you can't even build a house that's symbiotic with nature like you could back prior to all these laws being implemented. You got to have it inspected. You got to have certain building codes and all this. And this is all licenses, which is all part of the control system to take away the ability to just train like if you wanted to teach your kid how to build, you got to go to school for that. You got to get the license for that. So all of these systems have been put in place to kind of slowly take this power away and put it into a system that can be sold back to us.
Yeah. And
on multiple levels. Yeah.
I'm gonna ask right now, do you wanna go ahead and move to because we can stay here, that's my topic. But there was something else that popped up that I had a conversation with somebody this weekend, and it was about the middle class. Do you want to move there? Or does anybody want to hit in the chat and keep on talking about this? Have a different angle to
we can talk about the middle class. It's all kind of wrapped up. Let's do it.
Okay. I was just giving somebody in the chat if they wanted to bring up a topic that we can jump on. I mean, not a topic, but wanted to talk about what you was talking about real quick. Had a different angle. But so anyway, we're gonna go ahead and jump onto the middle class. Now, my daughter was talking about they're killing the middle class, right?
Sure.
And I was like, nah, they're not killing the middle class. They're not killing the middle class. And she was like, Dad, they are killing the middle class. I was like, no, they changed it. They just changed the middle class. And I was like, how much money does Oprah Winfrey have? Oprah Winfrey has $4 billion.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So how much money does the most common richest person in the world have?
You mean the one that we know? They say it's Elon, but I don't buy that.
Elon Musk. But how much money does he have? Above $725 billion.
Yeah.
All right. But we know he's not the richest person in the world because Donald Trump was talking to a guy. He said he was going to give America $500 billion. $500 billion out of his pocket. Donald Trump said, hey, look, check this out. I think I can ask this. He's my friend. I'm going to go ahead and ask him for $1 trillion. In that same conversation, the dude was like, yeah, okay, I'll give you $1 trillion. Right? $1 trillion. You don't just give a motherfucker $1 trillion, $1 billion unless you got it. You know what I mean? And it's easy to give when you verbally say something like that, right? So I'm saying now the middle class is between 500 million to maybe $12 billion, right? The lower class, the poor class is $1 million and up. If you're not making $1 million, you're cannon fodder, right? And she was like, "Nah, they need us. They need us." Exactly, because I'm like, I'm right here in Vegas, right?
Yeah.
You can go down on the strip and get a nice hot pizza of your choice of topping out of a vending machine. They don't need us. They don't need us. When you can go get food out of a vending machine that's hot, that's supposed to have somebody preparing it, you know. So that's one of the right. So Shaquille O'Neal is rich. Yeah, Shaquille O'Neal's rich.
He got a little money.
He's got some money to where he seems like he's well off, but he's not the top tier. And trust me, I would love to be on his tier. I'm not saying
his tier is a little better than mine. He's better than where we're sitting at right now. But you're right, bro, because my wife and I, we like to get on YouTube a lot and just check out these nice houses, because you know, my house is worth, I don't know, $400,000, right? Which is, you know, depending on where you're at, you could say that's a lot or not a lot.
Yeah.
And then the house that I look at that, you know, like, oh man, I like to live in that house. They're like $2 million homes. And then we start looking at the most expensive homes in America, and you find there in states like New Hampshire, the states that you don't hear about a lot, but these are $40-50 million homes. So who the heck is buying $40-50 million homes? You know what I mean? So that lets you really see what tier you're on. If you're living in a $500,000 house and there's $40-50 million homes, and I'm sure there's more than that, it just really lets you know where the money game really is. So when they break out these statistics and they talk about the middle class, we're far from middle class. If you're living in a house or you're making $100,000, you're far from middle, because how could that even be close to the middle class, bro? So it's all a game to make you feel like you're in the middle class, but really anyone who's making less than, like you said, $15 million, you're in the poor class.
Yeah.
And then they got us, they run stories to make us fight against each other when we're all in the poor class. There's people with trillions of dollars out here, bro. We're not even close. Like if you own a $1 billion company that you don't run off of cash only, because we know a lot of these companies run off of money that they borrow. Who lends money to a $1 billion corporation? Somebody with more money.
Yeah, like she got right here, or I can't see the picture, but got Taylor Swift.
She's rich too.
Yeah, and like her house is probably stupid big too. But then think about this. This is when it comes to the houses. When it comes to houses, it's like a Rolls Royce, you know, or Maserati, but mostly Rolls Royce and above Lamborghini. They don't advertise those. You have to be in the know already to even see about a Rolls Royce. You know what I mean? So it's like when we're looking into the housing market, that's only what we're allowed to see.
That's right.
You know, because there's people that live on national parks. There's people that live on land that they say that we don't have enough of.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And because we're all corralled into these cities, and when we fly on airplanes, when anybody flies on an airplane, they look outside, they see all this area where there's nobody at. Supposedly, there's no one at, you know, and the plane is navigating through areas that they're told to navigate through. So we're not flying over other people's houses that the rich people don't want us to see. Everything is going electronic. So the navigation of where we drive is being controlled. You know what I mean?
For
And
sure.
so it's like, then when you think about Kobe Bryant, yeah, the man died. He's sad issue, but he died in a helicopter so he can beat traffic. There's, you know what I mean? There's people who have the money that we don't even need. We don't even need a car because there's no actual way to get into where I live other than through helicopter.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? Or
yeah, and it's all. Go ahead. I was gonna say it's all just shape. It's all to shape the perception of what we think reality really is, so that we don't really look at what's really going on. Because in order to maintain this level of resources for yourself, you have to almost shield it from the people who you've taken these resources from. And the thing that where most wealth comes from originally is the land. And when you're talking about there's so much land out here that we're not even able to see, that's the source of the wealth, because that's where the mining goes from. That's where the diamonds, all the things that are freely given to, what should have been freely given to us, has been taken away and then redistributed back to us, while making us think that there's scarcity.
Yeah.
And if you've driven across this country, like, I've driven from California, Virginia to California twice, Nevada to Oregon to, just driving across the country, you'll see quickly that there's so much land. And the crazy thing about it is, with the agricultural system that we have, like wine, for example, I live in Oregon. They call it wine country, second wine country next to California. It's so much land being used just for grapes. Just for grapes, bro.
Right.
And they tell us there's not enough land. Are you kidding me?
Hey, do you remember when they was doing the thing for ethanol? They had all those farms. They had all those farms, and for the corn, and the corn was corn that we couldn't even eat. It had to be used for that new gas, and that had, like, I think they had over, like, if I can remember, it was like 14,000 or 14. Yeah, it was like 14,000 acres
just to grow corn for gas.
Just to grow corn that we can't eat. It's like we're not short on land.
For sure.
And we're not short on land. It's all kinds of control.
And it's like we're
doing well there, Joe.
Hey, what up, Joe? What up, Joe? Thanks for joining, man. And it's all to kind of like MLK coming up today, right? It's to kind of shape the argument of what the fight is about. Because you mentioned why a lot of these things still the same. Why are we still fighting this fight about civil rights and black versus white or whatever? Because it's to shape the way that we perceive things, so that we can keep the perpetual fight going on. And the fight that we should be fighting is just that, really, that the things that really create value, which is the land, really be given back from those who've taken the land, because that's where the true resources are. And we can get back to that, man. A lot of these fights can go away, because now you can start to really teach people how to use the land. We talk about there's no food. It would be very simple. What do we have? 330 million people, I think, in America. It would be very easy to equip these families with just a little bit of land and teach them how to grow things. But that is not what the system needs, because that would be detrimental to the system. And the whole point of the system is just to keep the system going.
Hey, when I was working for the USDA, I was a food safety inspector at a poultry factory. And do you know that we checked this? We checked the chickens, like the viscera, make sure they didn't come in as cadavers or all of this stuff. But do you know a lot of the stuff that the U.S. government does in the chicken factories? are is just the main way of control, because if you cook a chicken correctly, there's nothing in a chicken, even a sick chicken, that can cause us to get sick.
Is that
Did
right?
you know that? Yeah, there's nothing in a chicken, even a sick chicken, if you cook
About
it
the
correctly,
salmonella they talk
that
about.
can, it's a lie. It's a bullshit, because it can't get us sick. That bird flu or all that other stuff that they was getting, the salmonella, if you cook the chicken correctly, it cannot get us sick. There's nothing. And so what they do is they say this, the USDA is like, okay, it makes sense. It's a good lie. It's a good
Gotta
lie.
have a little
So
truth
what?
in it, no doubt.
Yeah. So what they say is, okay, if you want to sell your goods, your produce, if you want to sell your goods, you can only sell them in a specific community, because if you sell your stuff to another town and they get sick, then you're spreading this sickness from your town to that town, and the USDA is making sure that that doesn't happen. So you have to, if you want to do that, you have to have our stamp on it so you can go to the next town, right? But then say, just, I don't want it to be me, but say this dude named Brian, right? Brian Zikowski has a cattle farm, and he's selling his goods in his town, right? But now he ended up getting a whole bunch more cows, and he's like, I can sell more meat to other people. So he starts selling it to another town, but then he has a bad cow, right? He gets some people in the other town sick, maybe 2 people die. Those people in the other town, that's a tragic situation, right? But those people in the other town is going to say, you know what? The hell with Brian Zikowski. We're not buying no more meat from him, because we would self-level to what is right. You know what I mean?
Okay, I get what you're saying. So you're saying there's no need for that type of regulation, because
there's
people just
no
wouldn't
need
do
for
business.
that type of regulation.
Yeah,
right.
Sure.
It's a Better Business Bureau thing. It's not that. And yes, I do understand about the safety, but we're serving people food. Like, I was talking to this guy at work, and he said Subway isn't this Subway, that the sandwich joint isn't even allowed in his country. I forgot what country it is. He's like, it's not like Czechoslovakia, but it's in that region. You know what I mean?
Why weren't they allowed over there?
The bread, huh?
Oh, because it's not real bread?
Yeah, he said there's a bread inside. I mean, there's a chemical inside the bread that comes from the rubber in tires. And it's to make the bread fluffier or something like that, and that's illegal in their country. So they're not allowed to have Subway in their country. Wow. It's like,
not a shock.
If we are really trying to keep people from being sick or keep people from eating poison, the USDA should stop that shit. You see what I mean? So it's all a lie. It's all a lie. The FDA should stop it too.
Yeah. I mean, what always puzzles me about it is, like, why do we have to wait till someone gets sick before y'all come in and do a regulation? And like, I guess it was a big victory when they got some of the dyes taken out of the food after Kennedy got in office last year. But I'm like, why have any of them in there? Why not just go ahead and make all of them illegal? Why just do one?
Right.
We know all the other dyes and colorings in the foods aren't good either, but we just gonna celebrate. Oh, we got the red number, whatever color it was,
or whatever that is.
Number 5 taken out. We can't just take them all out. Like, who cares if the food looks pretty? Just take the color out, dude.
Yeah. Right. So what is brown?
Yeah, like,
we eat brown shit.
Yeah, like that's what always puzzles me. Like, why are we waiting until after the fact to regulate these things out of the industry? We already know, like, chemistry's been around for a long time.
Right.
Alchemy goes back into the Egyptian times when they were doing, even before then, maybe alchemy. I mean, we call it chemistry today, but it's still manipulating chemicals and different things like that. This is not a new science we're not finding out any new or what's harmful for the body. Why not just regulate all this stuff out? If other countries can do it, we could do it too. But I guess it's cheaper. It's still a way to act as if um, they're doing something for our benefit. But like we say, it's always to kind of shape the perception um, of how we view these things, so they can keep it going, keep this little shell game going. Yeah, I mean, it's wild, dude. So I think, well, I mean, what we think some of the solutions are for us out here, man.
Yeah, that's a good one. I want other people to join in with this, because this is an important question. What are some solutions? And no, I don't believe one person has the ultimate solution. Just like Martin Luther King did not have the ultimate solution. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There has to be a collaborative thing, because we are different people. So one of a solution that I say that I believe that we would need is building a farming community, a community that is holistic, a community that takes that doesn't sell liquor. I believe in a community that now mind you, you can have liquor in a restaurant in that community, but there won't be any bars. If you're going out to have a meal, you can drink liquor with your meal, or drink wine or champagne with your meal. But as far as taking it home with you, no. And it changes the mindset of the community. Just like in Kyoto, Japan.
Yeah.
You go to Kyoto, Japan, there's no trash cans on the street. So because there's no trash cans on the street, guess what's not on the street?
I guess trash.
Exactly. There's no litter. So it changes the mindset. You see what I mean?
Sure.
So I really do feel that one of the solution is the way each individual community is ran, or created, or structured, however you want to use whichever word you want to use.
Yeah, that's a great idea, man. I mean, the guy I was trying to think of, I looked him up. His name was Abba Amlak. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but when he was talking about getting back to more of an industrial society, one of the things he said that, far as partying, like if you're in a community who learns how to grow things, and you start having harvest parties, so sometimes your festivals and the things that you do for entertainment become around that, because you're sharing the foods that you've grown with other people, the things that you've made. Maybe you make your own beer, you make your own liquor, and you start having parties and so community gatherings around harvest time, or when things are bountiful within that community. And those are some of the things that have been taken away. You can think about like how they tell us the story of Thanksgiving. Like they celebrated with some of the food and things that they grew in that area, and that becomes part of the community the fabric of the community. Ali grew this, Rozilla grew that, and now we're gonna come together, and we're gonna have a little party, a little get together. You bring the things that you grew or the things that you made, and we just celebrate within that community. And with grocery stores and things like that, I mean, we still do have celebrations, but if we're talking about being more independent, a lot of those things will come back.
Yeah, but it's the controls. I think a lot of people, I think when they go to what's that, universal pay? What's that called again?
Oh, universal basic income, UBI.
Yeah, universal basic income. I think that would be one of the key. It would be one of the key sources or key points to where we would be able to implement that into the culture of the people or society, to where we start doing that with using that income. However, I do feel that there's going to be other, not entities, but other projects, other social development tricks that they would use to not allow us to explore that type of self-preservation or self growth or community growth. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, you're doing this, but here we have this for you as well. We have this for you as well. More reliance on the government instead of reliance on self. You know, more reliance on a being that's outside of you than what's inside of you. More reliance on
automation,
yeah,
those types of things. Yeah, automation systems, which is all
religions.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you want to go there.
yeah, hell yeah, I want to go there.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I look now again. I know I said religion. I don't care about anybody's religion, whether it's whether you believe in God or not. That's you. That's all you, and I respect that. I respect that. But the division in it is the part that I don't particularly like, because that's one of the tools that they use to keep us divided. You know, when it's like, you know how they say, don't worry about the message, or did you get the message? You know, one of those types of things. You know, I don't care if you're a Buddhist, I don't care if you're Christian, Muslim, Jew, I don't care. As long as we're trying to work as long as we're working, not trying, as long as we're working together as a species to be greater for everybody else, you know, to improve everybody's life.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it starts with, you know, shaping the arguments and the perception of the people, which is where the division starts, I think. You know, we can certainly say religion has been one of those tools. And the funny thing about religion, right? You're not gonna, you know, talk from a former Christian perspective, is that once you're really into that really hard, right, or anything for that matter, once you're into something really, really hard, and you really start to take that in as your own belief system, you start to view the world from that, and with that, it kind of separates you mentally from other things that aren't that. So if I'm really into, you know, Christianity, for example, it's the lens that I'm viewing the world in, and if you're not a Christian per se, then you might then you're not really in the family, so to speak, and that could be a divisive thing. And I think those things are just put in to shape how we view the world. But if you really look at those tenets closely, you can see how they're all interrelated, how they've all been kind of merged, but the way in which you see it creates that separation. But
right,
I don't know if that makes any sense.
No, that makes plenty of sense. If you look at the count right now, we was at I think we was at 6 when it first popped up, as far as the people who were viewing. You know, when we first started talking about the religious part, that is such a touchy subject. And now, mind you, people could have been getting off because of time. They could have been doing whatever. But also, it's a touchy subject. People left. Don't know exactly what it was for. And I'm just going to say the subject. You know?
Yeah. I mean,
at least one of them left because of the subject.
Yeah, and that's all good. I mean, and I think like spirituality is the subject matter that could really bring us all together if people would just have ears to hear and eyes to see how that beyond everything that we're all connected from that spirit realm, you know, that everything
they'd have to believe it.
Well, that I think that's what separates true spirituality from religion. Is one is based on belief, and the other is based on an experience or knowledge of knowing how things are really working and put together.
Yeah, but that's the question, though. That is the question. Now, whether you or I believe what you just said. Obviously, you said it, so you believe it. Um,
it
what there's a 8 billion people here on Earth.
sure. Yeah.
There's got to be at least 100,000. You can read that one. There's got to be at least 100,000 that don't believe in spirituality at all.
Yeah, and that's what I mean, like, because spirituality, to really know what it is not a belief. It's a knowing that this is how things are. That's the difference between, in my opinion, um, spirituality and religion without spirituality. That's kind of the trick, right? One is based on belief systems, where other is based on a true knowing. For example, if you really know how we are put together and you know how things really work, um, you know that things exist in the spirit realm before they exist in physicality, and you can come to this type of knowing by really studying how things work. And that's not based on a belief, that's based on how things really work. So I think once you can rise above beyond the belief and look for proofs that can be backed up by experience, then you can move beyond the division. And that's one of the things that always tripped me up with religion, when I would ask those who were, quote unquote, put over me in a sense to teach me about religion, especially when I was a kid, that we could never get beyond just the belief and into the proofs. Well, how does that really work? And I think you can get to those kind of places beyond, to a point where you know how things really work, and not just have to rely on faith and belief.
Well, you see that. Well, I've been with this company for 30 years. Hold on, it just moved from my vision. Hold on for a
Yeah, he's
second.
been with the company 30 years and hadn't got promoted.
Yeah, and they have he or she has tons of education, and still always try to they still always try to hold them down by passing them by and promoting other people of different races above me. From this picture is a person I can see light skin. That's all I can see. I don't know how to make it bigger to see. So what race are you? Because that might be a big thing. And you're in North Carolina. And I was in South Carolina for a while. So I don't know what that is. Or you might be Spanish. It could be a cultural thing for that area. You know what I mean? It could be a cultural thing for that area, but then still have to obey the law to keep you quiet. Here, take the money, but you're not going to be above anybody. And that's almost like I have to say this.
You
That's
said it's
almost
black and
like
light skin.
black and light skin.
Yeah.
Oh man, you had the best of one world. Y'all almost fit in because you light skin. Yeah, no, I get it. So, but it's almost like where I'm at. I've been in the company longer than this other guy. I've been a supervisor longer than this other guy, and he became supervisor, and now he switched to my shift, and I'm already a supervisor in my shift. But because, I would love to say because he's white, they put him above me, right? And act as acting supervisor because everybody else above me is white, right? I would like to say that. I would like to make that an issue, but I don't want to make it an issue. I want to see what in me is lacking. What in me is missing from what could be better. What does this other person have that that I don't have, however, whatever that is. I don't know. I don't want to put anything on race, even though there's a lot of race issues, I want to look at how do I better myself first? How do I make myself better? Is it the way I speak? Is it the way I wear my clothes? Because I'm in hospitality. You know what I mean? Is it the way I walk? Is it the way I interact with guests? Now, mind you, this guy, he's a supervisor. He is a baby kisser. I'm telling you, he's a baby kisser, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing because everybody likes that. I'm not. I work in security, and I'm not that friendly with everybody. I smile a lot and I help people a lot, but he is more of a family person than I am. So that's what I'm missing, and I understand that. Also, a lot of women like him, and he's real chipper and happy. He's a handsome dude. I'm handsome too, but he's chipper and happy, and we work in hospitality. So I see why that's happening. So I don't want to make it a race thing. It's just things that fit that position a little bit better. I still make the money. You see what I mean? So I don't know. Maybe it could be you're in textiles and the other person
Definitely
is
like
like
that.
that.
So I guess it's like what you were saying, like you're the guy who's in your spot, like kind of chipper, more outgoing, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
look at self. Go ahead and say what you're going to say, man. Because you
Yeah, I
might
mean,
got a
I think that
different view.
no, I was gonna say that's a good point. In my life, I've largely been in areas that are predominantly white, but I just try to go about my business being the best I can, however, no matter what the situation is, and just hope that shakes out, and hope that you get a fair shake. That's all you can really do. Um, no matter the situation and you find yourself in, and just be the best version of yourself. And life oftentimes is just a mirror of like, okay, well, you look in this mirror, like, how can I be better? If and I try not to personally use any crutches or any type of things to point at outside of myself when things aren't going the way that I hope or the way I would
Right.
like. I always look at, okay, well, what can I do here? Can I learn more? Can I go here? Can I be there? Can I, um, be, if in this case, be a little bit more friendly? Can I really beat that person at the game that I'm in? In my business, I'm in health and fitness industry, which is super, super competitive, especially nowadays when everybody wants to be a personal trainer. Just you learn you lose 10 pounds, and now you're a trainer too, and that's just how it is these days. So just how can I be better personally, and just rely on the strength and the things that I've done to carry me through, the resilience that I have within myself. That's the best advice I could give my guy. I hope whatever it is, you can turn that situation around.
Yeah.
If it's about race, hopefully not. If it's just about being a better version of whoever you are, whatever that takes, that you could do that also.
And I like what you said, because that is a great technique, the mirror technique. Use that other person as a mirror, just like I did. What I'm looking in the mirror, I see this as me. What am I missing that this person in the mirror has? What actions am I not putting forth that this person in the mirror is putting forth? And I pointed them out. They're a baby kisser. I'm not. They're more active with the guest than I am. Now, if I start doing that, and if I start being out there kissing the babies, getting with the families, being active inside the people, being more friendly, being what that image in the mirror is, and then all this other shit is like, I'm not getting promoted, then there's an
Then it might
issue.
be time to move. Yeah, then it might be time to move. But
Yeah.
it sounds like what you're saying, like in your case, like there's certain type of criteria that they're looking for no matter what. And you could look at it as saying, well, that person's like that and that person's like this and I'm not. you can look at that and say, well, you know, if I change and do that, then I'd be sucking up or doing whatever. That's the decision that you have to make if you want to
Yeah.
get that position, and because that may be what's required. And if you're not willing, then that's okay too. But
Yeah.
at least you know that, hey, this might be the route I have to go to get where I want to go. And if you're willing to do that, then do what it takes. If not, then maybe that, just know that you're not going to get that position. But that's what is required sometimes, is just um, kind of molding yourself to whatever needs to happen or whatever they want for that spot.
Well, and if it fits your masterpiece. So we gotta focus on, I mean, think about that too. Just like you say, that's not me. I'm not going to do what that guy does. Now I can do this and I can do that, but I'm not doing that. That might not fit the person who you are, your masterpiece, the higher level of what you want to be. And then, you know, hey, well, this is either where I'm going to be in the company or I'm leaving the company.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you got to weigh that out for yourself. But yeah, look at the masterpiece who you are, because you are awesome. Everybody here has, if we are who we are and we stand on who we are, we're awesome people. We're awesome beings. Know that about yourself before you think about anybody else. Know that you're awesome. And then you can look and see look in the mirror and see what that awesome looks like, and see what actions you're putting, so you can see if you're missing it.
For sure.
You're actually doing that.
Yeah, you know? I give one more example too. Like my wife's a teacher, and your wife's a teacher too, Ali. You know, she has certain skills and attributes and qualities that she's learned after 20 something years in the industry, and now she's finding herself being in this place where she feels like the skills that she has aren't really desired in the school district. So I tell her, like, okay, well, because, you know, if because she really wants to do right by the kids. So there's a lot of things going on that she feels could be better suited for the kids if it's about really educating them. And that's what she's really standing on. So I tell her, you know, these skills and attributes, maybe it's just time that you take the things that you've learned and maybe move on to something else where those skills are more valued. And sometimes life just puts us in these situations where we can see, okay, my value is really here. The company's value is there. I'm going to move somewhere where I'm more valued.
Yeah.
Or the skills I have, the value I can bring is better suited for something else now. And sometimes it's about that, just being in a situation where you have to get the confidence that I have this value and I'm comfortable now in myself moving to this place with the value that I have, versus trying to put yourself in this, you know, position where you're trying to squeeze in and make yourself fit. Maybe it's time maybe you don't fit. Maybe it's time to move. Sometimes life puts us in those situations.
Yeah, that's a that's it right there. I agree with that. I see right here that you agree too. I agree with that. I agree with that.
And that's a tough thing. That's a tough thing to come to, right? Because now you're, like you said, standing on your own 2 feet, standing on your own value. And the whole point of life, in my opinion, is to get to a point where you can do that, where you can stand on what your own value is, what you have as a person, because we're all here to bring about the unique qualities and attributes we have as individuals and put those out.
Right.
So life has to put you in situations that brings that out of you. But when it does, you have to have the courage then to step out on that, whatever that may be. It could be changing something about how you go about your business, or it could be moving into a different environment where you're more likely to thrive. But
hey, and always remember this: the event is neutral. Whatever event it is, don't get upset at the event. When the event happens, you have a choice. That's what you focus on. The choice that you make during whatever event that is. That's the focus. The fight or flight. You know, whatever you decide to do in the event. There's a car accident. The event's not bad. How do you respond to that car accident? You got a flat tire. The flat tire is not bad. How do you respond to that? That's the situation. So it's how you respond to whatever event pops in front of you.
Yeah.
That's the choice. That's the choices that are given to us.
No doubt, man. No doubt.
But you know, I am going to have to step out.
Yes, sir.
I love all you guys, and thank you for participating. Life in the North Carolina's 4770. Appreciate you.
Yeah, man. Thanks for joining in. It's been a good one. Another A to Z. So plan to be back next week. We'll see what happens this week. Yeah.
Next week, my leadership graduation is happening. So I don't know the time yet. But hopefully I'll be able to they'll go later than 10. They'll go later than 10. So we might be either earlier or you might have to go by yourself.
All right, bro. You can go out alone.
There's a lot of people there.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thanks for joining, everyone. Happy Sunday and MLK Day for those of you who celebrate and going to do it big tomorrow. And we'll be back next time. We're out.
All right.